Hey everybody, Marc Sadowski here. Welcome to Filmish. So, Fuji Rumors has announced something pretty big this past weekend, and that is that the X-T6 is delayed. The word is that it will not be announced at the Fujikina scheduled for Paris in September. So, what does that mean for the Fujikina in Paris? And what does that mean for the X-T6? And then, what does that mean for the X-Pro4 that is rumored to happen sometime next year? Well, I did a little thinking, and let's start with the easy one. Fujikina in Paris will still have, probably, if I'm going to make any kind of guess, it'll still have a couple announcements, and that is the updated zoom lens of the 50 to 140 f2.8 Mark II version lens. That's a pretty big and important lens. It's frequented by a lot of professionals from sports to especially wedding photography and portraiture. That's going to be a big one to be announced. So having that as its own Fujikina, I think, is substantial. It's not X-T6 substantial, but you can still make a meal out of it. And the other one is going to be the dedicated 400 millimeter lens. And I believe, if rumor has it correct, that's an f4 lens. And that's also a big lens for wildlife photographers. I don't know if portrait photographers would use that. I probably wouldn't use it, but it's an important lens nonetheless. Two very important focal lengths that a lot of professionals use, I think, is going to be a good, substantial Fujikina for Paris. So I think the event is still going to be hugely successful. So let's get into the X-T6. What could possibly be delaying it? And when can we see this camera announced? Well, a few things. And again, as of this recording, I am recording this on August 11th, just days after Patrick announced it on Fuji Rumors. I would say there are a couple things that we might consider. It could be that, and by the way, let me also preface by saying that I think this is overall a good sign. If you were going to put a spin, or not a spin, that's a bad word. If we're going to be optimistic, I think this is a sign that Fujifilm is absolutely taking this camera launch very super serious. And I would guess, if I were to put on a guessing hat, I mean, again, let me clarify that I have no knowledge of production work or anything like that, but I'm on the internet, and when has that ever stopped us? I'm going to guess that it is something along the lines of software related things. Like maybe they're still working out the algorithm for the autofocus. Maybe they're making some last minute adjustments to that system where they're not going to load that gold master information into their hardware until it is absolutely the best that it can be. That would be my top guess if I were to guess. And that being said, if that is the reason, we could probably see the X-T6 announced at the October Fujikina that is going to be in New York City. Again, I'm very much on the speculation side. Who knows? I don't think it is a production line issue. I think that stuff would have been all settled. Production line issue, whether it's components or anything like that, that might be the cause. Something in the production line that maybe they don't have enough of, that they need to source, and they need to be certain that things will be sourced. Maybe there needs to be a change in one of the parts that needs to be updated. That could also possibly be an issue. I mean, right now, electronic components are at a premium nowadays, whether it's chips or anything along that lines. I mean, it's just been a crazy world out there. We already know RAM shortages and all that craziness that's happening. It could very well be an issue there where they need to source an alternate component to make the camera production move forward. And if that's the case, we might see, you know what? I couldn't even possibly give you an estimate if that would be the case. My guess would be that it could also still make the October release date, if they choose to use the October as a release date. But I don't know at that point. That world has been very crazy, especially for Fujifilm. Fujifilm is still working their damnedest trying to make production make their scheduled production for the X100-6 and other cameras. I think the X-T30 Mark III has been super popular, as well as the other cameras. The XE5 has been really popular, but none as much as the X100-6. Still, it's just been a monster of a camera. They've like tripled, quadrupled their production and still having trouble meeting that demand. I could only imagine what the X-T6 is going to be. A lot of people are just wanting one X100 camera. Think about what that means for people wanting 2 or 3 X-T6s. I couldn't even fathom a guess. That's why I'm kind of hoping, praying that it's a software issue, if that word is applicable, and that they're just making sure that autofocus is the best that it can be. So fingers crossed. I have no additional information. I just wanted to share my 2 cents as far as what has been announced about what has been rumored, I should say, not announced. Announced means that things are more concrete, and right now everything is in rumor stage. But that would be my 2 cents. And if there is that delay for the X-T6, let's say it is released in October rather than September, I would have to say that that will change things for the X-Pro4. I originally made the prediction that it was going to be released in January. But then I adjusted that a few episodes ago to say it's more than likely going to have a March or a May release. Now I'm thinking it's definitely going to be a May or even June release for the X-Pro4. I think the delay in the X-T6 is going to delay the X-Pro4 by a month or 2, maybe 3. I don't think that Fujifilm wants any kind of overlap between the X-T6 and the X-Pro4. Did I say the X-Pro4? I probably should and say I messed up. The next X Pro and the next the X-T6 and the next X Pro, they don't want any kind of overlap in that. And I think it's just going to delay that even more. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. I'm not going to agonize too much over it. I have full faith that Fujifilm will release it when it's ready. And I think that's the biggest takeaway from this, is that they are being super careful with the release of this camera. And I would happily wait an extra month or 2 to make sure that a launch is perfect for a camera that is as important as the X-T6. So we will see. If you have any comments, definitely share your thoughts. Send me an email at filmishow@gmail.com. Again, this is a tough one. Not something that we wanted to see, but such is life. These are the crazy times we live in. So anyway, share your thoughts one more time. filmishow@gmail.com. All the information will be in the show notes here. So until next time, take care.